boom, boom. Boom, boom. Bowled in. What a beauty. Special delivery from a special bowler.
So, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the View from the Pavilion, the fortnightly podcast brought to you by what one hopes is your favorite place on the internet to discuss all matters related to cricket. And I, of course, refer to PakPassion.net. Now, I'm your host, MEnInG, also known as Meg, or also, I guess some people call me the old one. And with me today is possibly the most trusted voice regarding matters related to cricket on the blogosphere, and I refer, of course, to the manager of this wonderful site, Saj MEnInG. Assalamu alaikum, Saj. Hope you're well today.
Walaikum salam. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you are well too.
Saj, so the plan today is to discuss a few topics which are on the minds of many on our forums. And what I'd like to do is to begin with the matter of elections. Now, obviously, these are not the national ones I'm referring to, but the ones that took place at the PCB. Resulting in, I guess, quote unquote, the election of the chairman of the PCB, Mr. Zaka Ashrafs. Now, putting aside the whole argument for and against the process of his election, and there are obviously some legal issues and things like that involved there, what I wanted to talk to you, Saj, about is Mr. Zaka Ashraf's tenure so far. How has he done in your view, and I guess what could he do better if he had another chance?
Yeah, it's an interesting point that you make there. I think Zaka Ashraf's tenure so far can be, I would say, in my mind, classified as satisfactory. You know, he's not made any glaring errors, so to speak, that his predecessor Ijaz Butt made. You know, Ijaz Butt fell foul of making statements that he shouldn't have, and also falling out with a number of other international boards. He needed the support of various boards around the world, and he lost all of that. So Zaka Ashraf basically had some bridge building to do. He had some relationships to mend. That was one of his key objectives. And he's done that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you know, one thing I really gets me whenever people talk about Zaka, right, is the fact that they immediately compare him to his predecessor. Now, if you look at his predecessor, as you were just saying, he had so many gaps and mistakes that, Zaka Ashraf looks really good, but really, is he that good for Pakistani cricket is what I was trying to ask.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. Where I'm coming from, Amir, is that initially, I think when Zaka Ashraf took over the role, he had that buffer period where he had bridge building to do, he had relationship mending to do. Those were one of his first priorities. Otherwise, he would have just been seen as another buffoon taking over Pakistan Cricket Board, and nobody would have taken him seriously. So I think in the first instance he did that. He built those bridges. He repaired some relationships around the world with other cricket boards that he had to do. I think the mistake that Zaka made was that during one of his first speeches, one of his first media interactions, he said that he would bring international cricket back to Pakistan, right, and that was one of his key aims. Right. Now he's not been able to deliver on that. So I think that was a bit of a rash statement. What he should have said was, and hindsight is a wonderful thing, Ahmed, but what he should have said is that he will do his utmost to bring international cricket back to Pakistan. But he made it sound as if, you know, he was the saviour. He would bring international cricket back to the cities of Lahore, Karachi, Multan, etc. He's not been able to deliver on that front. However, he has brought in good coaches, international experienced coaches like Dav Ockmore, Julian Fountain. He's had training camps, Wasim Akram. He's also brought in Mohammad Akram as well as the bowling coach. They're looking for a long-term batting coach, obviously. At the moment, there's just an interim appointment. So, you know, he's seen that he's got to have the best coaching staff available to help his players. He's had no major problems with the players as such. There have been no major controversial incidents for Pakistan cricket while he's been in charge, which is also a good thing, so he deserves a bit of credit for that. As I say, it's been predominantly plus points. The only thing is, Zaka Ashraf isn't a cricket man. When I say that, he's got no cricketing experience. He's from a banking background. He's heavily reliant upon his advisors. his people around him to guide him, and I think sometimes those people haven't always given him the best advice.
Right, right. But I mean, there's also a lot of criticism about and you mentioned some of the good things like, Dav Watmore and Julian Fountain and Muhammad Akram. But, the same people, I mean, the same kind of choice of personnel has also brought up in a lot of criticism. And I refer specifically, I guess, to, in slightly unfairly to Intikhab Alam. A lot of people say, look, why is he still there? And at the end of the day, the buck, the proverbial buck does stop with Mr. Ashraf. So, in a way, I'm not too happy. I'm not too convinced that, he's the best thing for Pakistan cricket. But again, we're obviously talking relative terms here. What was before him was so bad that he looks really great now. But yeah, I mean, I generally agree with what you're saying. I mean, he has done well, but I also think that the PSL was a bit of a letdown, actually, the way it was done.
Yes,
I mean, yeah, most people who were following this were saying, where's he going with this? And, will this ever happen? So I don't know. What do you think about that part?
Yeah, the PSL, again, it comes back to the point, Amir, of Zaka Ashraf not being a cricket man. Now, I think most people with any cricketing nous around the world will have realised that the Pakistan Super League, or the Pakistan Premier League as they initially called it, it was a fantasy to think that they could hold the first edition in Pakistan last year, which is what they were proclaiming would happen. That was a fantasy. It wasn't going to happen. Let's be realistic. What they should have done was said that we've got a target in mind of late 2013, 2014. First two editions we'll have outside Pakistan. UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, those are prime locations for holding the Pakistan Super League, first one or two editions. Build the foundations, and get that interest from international cricketers to playing in that tournament, and then hold future editions, year 3, season 4, etc., in Pakistan after it's established itself, after it's become an annual event in the international cricketing calendar, where players were comfortable playing in because they'd been paid, that they realise that this is now established. So season 3, you'd have the fact that it has had 2 seasons behind it, and also, as I say, it would be established by then.
Yeah, definitely. TK. So I guess that I suppose in summary, you can say that Mr. Ashraf, I guess, till now, or as it stands now, is probably the best thing Pakistani cricket can have. But in terms of things he can do better, I guess as you pointed out, if he'd been a cricketing man as such, he may have wanted to do things a bit differently. Right.
Well, I think one of the things, Ahmed, that he can do a lot better is the pay structure in domestic cricket. That really needs sorting out.
Right.
I was tweeting the pay rates of Pakistani cricketers playing in the one-day competition and the T20 competition, and the amounts are pitiful what they're being paid. They'd get more money playing for a local club side here in the UK than they do for playing first-class cricket.
Right. Yeah, true. Right. Take such. So now let's move on to the next topic, and this one is a bit closer to home, I guess, for people living in England. It's the Champions Trophy 2013. Now Pakistan have a decent squad, and I think we discussed it in our previous podcast. But we know that they're trained well, they're prepared well, and they congregated in Abbottabad for a six-day camp. And I'm sure people listening to this must have seen the wonderful coverage and the pictures provided by our guy Fareed, and went to Abbottabad on our behalf. Now, whilst the camp had a lot of good press, I mean, but there are some dissenting voices coming through, and obviously I refer to the most famous one, and the one that people are quite used to, which is Sarfraz Nawaz, where he said that this was too short a camp. So that's the one kind of I guess criticism we are getting of the camp. But what would you say, Saj, was the main achievement of the camp, and are you actually satisfied with its outcome?
As far as the outcome is concerned, I mean, I think it all depends on how well Pakistan do in the Champions Trophy in England.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
if they don't do well, then the likes of Sarfraz Nawaz and various other critical voices in Pakistan cricket are going to point the finger at this training camp. You know, why did they have this training camp in Ahmedabad? Why didn't they do this? Blah blah blah. So it's going to give them a reason to point the finger at the Pakistan Cricket Board and the coaches.
Right.
As far as the campaign itself is concerned, I mean, I think the idea was a very good one because they tried to replicate the conditions that Pakistan players will discover here in England, you know, in June,
Right.
where traditionally the ball seems around and the tracks are quite lively, the weather's a bit cold. So they tried to, as I say, replicate those conditions in Ahmedabad. And speaking to one or two of the players, what they did was they had different surfaces, different pitches out there. One was a green top, where they practiced on that one, and then the other pitch was a sort of a flatter, more traditional Pakistani type pitch. So that was the main reasons for having the camp in Ahmedabad.
Right. So you, in your view, I guess, I mean, at 6 days, do you think there were enough 6 days, or should it have been longer? I mean, then there's actually a danger of injury and stuff like that, isn't it?
I think 6 days was long enough. You know, you've got to remember that Pakistan will have those 6 days there in Ahmedabad, and then they've also got 6 matches before the actual Champions Trophy, which is more than any other team here in England playing in the Champions Trophy. They've got the 2 matches against Scotland, they've got 2 against Ireland, and then they've got the warm-up matches against Sri Lanka and South Africa, respectively. So, you know, they're going to have 6 matches before that first match against the West Indies. So I think that's pretty good preparation ahead of a one-day tournament.
Right. Teak. I just had enough. Next topic basically is this issue around Tim May. Now, as you will recall, that Tim May was ousted from this ICC Players Committee. And there's some controversy surrounding, the manner in which he lost votes, or the Indian, person took over. But basically, if we are to believe these stories coming out, and it would appear that Tim May has been taken out of the equation by influence by the BCCI. Now, obviously, this is a very sensitive topic, because a lot of our Indian friends would say, well, the BCCI is not doing anything extraordinary. I mean, they just are behaving in the way many other powers in the past have behaved. But what do you actually think about this whole issue? There's a lot of this BCCI controlling the ICC business being discussed. Do you agree? Do you think it's a fair kind of criticism of the BCCI?
I think the episode's leaving a bad taste in one's mouth, Amir, because again, these are all allegations. We're not privy to what actually happened with the vote itself. But as you say, looking at the reports and what we're reading in the media and what's being sent to PakPassion also, from various sources, it's leaving a bad taste in one's mouth. I think with regards to Tim May, looking at FICA and Tim May, you've got to remember that FICA are not recognised by countries such as India or by boards like the BCCI, the Pakistan Cricket Board, etc. So, excuse me, they basically don't give a damn about Tim May. Let's be honest about it.
Right.
Because Tim May has been critical of the Sri Lankan Premier League, he's been critical of Pakistan Cricket Board, BCCI, and also the BCB as well, with their lack of payments for players. So,
that's not a bad thing, isn't it? I mean, he's done, he's taken up the issues regarding, especially about this Bangladesh league, about how people were not being paid and all. So, in a way, I mean, he should be appreciated for what he's done so far. In fact, he seems to have done more than most other boards and individuals have done. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. What Tim May is doing on behalf of the players is absolutely spot on. No arguments against that. In fact, I've always said that the Pakistan cricketers should have their own, representation, like the Australia Cricketers Association, like England have. Pakistan needs that. Pakistan should have a players' body that represents the players and can, discuss matters, important matters such as contracts and pay and things like that with representation from the Pakistan Cricket Board.
Right.
So going back to your point about the BCCI, it seems, as I say from reports, that they've twisted a few arms, got a few votes in their favour, and got their man, Siva Ramakrishnan, in there on this cricket committee. And I think it's leaving a horrible taste. Just earlier today, I've received a report to say that apparently Sri Lanka cricket, these are allegations, Sri Lanka cricket didn't submit their original vote, which was by Mahela Jayawardena, in favour of Tim May. Instead, they submitted a later vote by Angelo Matthews that was in favour of the Indian Siva Ramakrishnan. So, that needs looking at as well. And
that's horrible.
And the matter's been, referred or possibly referred to the ethics committee, which is what FICA wanted. But yesterday I saw a tweet from Lalit Modi where he was saying that it's not going to be referred to the ethics committee. So it's all a bit of a mess at the moment, Amir. And I think this whole voting system really needs looking at. And I think the representation needs looking at as well.
Yeah, and I really think, in my view, really the players themselves really need to be, to come in front to the fore and get themselves heard on this issue, because it just seems that things are happening in this committee and, people are being represented, but really one or two players just standing up and saying, hey, look, guys, this is not right, and, we do need somebody to represent us. Maybe there are issues where they're a bit afraid of, the famed show cause notices that get handed out. But,
But I mean, there's ex-players there in Pakistan cricket who I think should take a step forward and, be the representative for the Pakistani cricketers. I think it's high time that a representation union or some sort of representation committee or organisation was set up on behalf of Pakistani cricketers to deal with the Pakistan Cricket Board.
True. Right. Good, Saj. So now, Saj, I think we're coming to the end of this thing. It's been almost like 17, 18 minutes. So what I wanted to do last thing on this and before we also do the post of the week was basically to talk about, and actually just to talk about this Champions Trophy and the behavior of our fans, especially Pakistani fans. So this is a message for our friends who are getting ready to support their team, and we hope that's Pakistan, by the way, at the Champions Trophy in a few weeks' time. Really a simple message, really, and it's this: behave. And because as you have mentioned so many times, I've seen your posts and stuff, like you go to these games and you've seen how these guys behave, especially where there are families involved and stuff like that. It includes abusing team members, other fans, and really this ought not to happen. I mean, Saj, well, you are based in England and you will be seeing these people. What's your message to them?
The message is simple, Amir. If you're going to a ground to watch the cricket, either inside the ground, outside the ground, or if you are watching it at university or the local community centre, watch the matches with dignity. Team will lose, teams will win. Whether your team wins or loses, behave yourselves. Think that you're representing your country, you're representing your family. We don't want any untoward incidents. Respect the people that are working there, respect the stewards, respect the players as well. So, message is simple: be on your best behaviour.
Right, good. Well, anyway, thank you very much, Saj, for your time this week, and inshallah we will be back with another edition of View from the Pavilion in I guess soon. But before we go, it's time to announce the much-awaited Post of the Week award. And for this week, we have chosen a brilliant post by a member, Harsh Thakur. In his post, he wonders with plenty of statistical proof, and that's what we love about his posts is the amount of effort and the time he puts in these. He wonders about who from Kallis, Botham, Kapil, Hadley, or Imran could actually replace the great Gary Sobers if in a hypothetical situation in an all-time 11. It's an excellent topic and a well-deserved Post of the Week award for Harsh Thakur. That's it for now. Thank you for your time, Saj.
Thank you.
And hope you enjoyed yourself here. Inshallah, we will be back soon. And from Saj and myself, it's goodbye and assalamu alaikum.